have to get a shift actuator. Okay, so it's in reverse, it says, but you can't start it in reverse. Shift. Okay, so now I jammed it up. Okay, try to spool the gears a little bit, get the shift into. Okay, so now I did it. There we go. Shifted back into neutral. I had supper, and instead of going to work on the eave on the house there, I decided to get my smart car driving. So I wasn't sure what happened to it until I suspected it was the clutch actuator. So here's the clutch actuator. All that does is depress the clutch. It's all automated. So it depresses the clutch automatically and it shifts automatically. What happens sometimes is that the shaft for the clutch actuator, it wears right through the yoke for the clutch throwout bearing. There's the bearing there that presses on the pressure plate. That end there, that's the end that rides on the little ball inside there, and then the other end here is where the clutch actuator presses on. And what happens is it wears through there, and then it just pops right through. And that's what happened on this one. The rod was stuck in there. It took me a little while to wiggle it out. So if you look in that hole there, you see the throwout bearing yoke. You see it's got a hole in it. It's not supposed to have a hole in it. It's supposed to be solid there, and the rod from the clutch actuator pushes on there and depresses the clutch. You know, it's very easy to take the clutch actuator out. You know, like every second oil change, you should really pull this thing out and grease the end of it, just so it doesn't do that, or it prolongs its life so it doesn't do that. And it's 3 bolts, and then it comes out pretty easily. So because mine wore through the yoke here. Oh, now I did it. Because mine wore through the yoke here. There we go. Some guys are enlarging the tip. I saw some guys with they're putting a brass tip on it. They cut it down and thread it, and thread on a brass tip. I don't have a brass tip, and that's a lot of work to cut that down and grind it down and then thread it so I can screw the brass tip on there. Stop moving. So what I did is I got a metric nut. This is a number 12, a metric nut with a flange on it. I was checking out, I have some smaller wheel nuts that have the beveled edge on it to go into the rim, but they're a little bit too big for the hole. They would fit, but I'd have to grind the edges off of them to get it to go through the hole in the casing in the transmission. So needed a little bit smaller nut, and I found the number 12 metric flange nut. Works pretty good. So I'll just go in there like that, and I ground the corners off the nut on the end, you know, give it a little bit of a round tip so it can pivot in there. And that should last a little bit before it wears through the yoke again. I don't know, I don't want to guesstimate. I had to drill it out so it fits over the shaft. So all I'm gonna do is put it in the right point on the shaft where it's where the nut is depressing the shift, or depressing the clutch yoke, and I'll weld it to the shaft in that position. I just I got to weld it pretty good because this thing just hammers in there pretty quick. So I'll weld it to the shaft pretty good, and then if it goes again, then that's the time where I pull the transmission out and put a new clutch in, and probably put in this shift, why do I keep calling it a shift yoke? This clutch yoke with the throwout bearing on it. Or I put a new one in. I got this one from Pick and Pull, just so I could do just this. Or if it was screwed up, then I could change it out. But it's a lot of work to pull the transmission out in one of these. You gotta take so many things off just to get to it. So this is the quick fix. So I'll do that. I'll do the nut fix, and then when it does go again, I'll either replace this or just get a new shaft for it. Yeah, I'll probably use the old one because it's easy to change out, and then I'll just get a new shaft. Or I just grind the nut off and then use the old shaft. I'll set that in there, set the proper depth so it's so it's in the same spot it would have been had it not punched through. It's going to be nice when I have the shop all set up. I won't have to do these little jobs in the shipping container with all the building supplies. But for now it's better than working outside. I'm not complaining. Not complaining. I'm just saying it'll be nice when the shop is all set up. And my welder is screwing up. Yeah, when I bought this, the guy's like, "Oh, it's a Miller. Just like a Miller. It's an Acklands, but it's just like a Miller." I don't know, maybe I got change the wheel on it, because it likes to throw the wire. Or maybe it's for the wrong size wire. Okay. Maybe I'll lift it up just a little bit. This is probably going to wear into the collar over time. So I'll have it just a little bit higher than where the rod would have been sitting in there. That's pretty good, I think. That's pretty good. Not gonna slide off of there. So it'll just go in there like that. I'll dab a big swab of grease in there. I'll use some moly grease, something that's not gonna fleck off very easily. Okay, so it's all cooled down. There it is, welded. I'm gonna grease it up with this stuff here. Shell Rotella SD special duty moly grease. Really get it in there, make sure it's stuck on it. Something like that. Don't need a whole lot on the tip. When I put it in there, I want it to squish out on the edges, and then it'll stay on there a little bit longer. This thing doesn't spin or anything, it just goes in there and pushes on it, so you don't got to worry about it flying off. But still, don't put too much on, because you don't want it to squish out and then fall in there and then get in between the clutch plates or something like that, and then you got a clutch that's slipping. You can always put a little bit on that end too. I'm not sure what that ball runs into. Maybe it's a Teflon bushing or something. It's probably metal on metal inside there too. So a little bit of grease on the inside won't hurt also. It just goes in like that. And the rubber, okay. Another reason I use this size nut is because it actually fit in the hole. I had some smaller wheel nuts, but they're too big to go into the casing. I would have had to grind the nut down a little bit. So if you don't have one that fits, then you might have to grind it down. Okay. What I should do is put a little bit of grease on my finger and see if I can get it onto that clutch yoke in there. Should I get it right on the tip of my finger? There we go, I got some grease in there. Okay, ready to install it. And then I'm pretty confident it's gonna work, and then we'll take it for a test drive. So this thing is sprung right out, I guess. That's why it's doing that. I gotta press the clutch to get the bolts in there. So when this thing fired out of there, now it's in the fired out position. Hopefully the actuator's still good. So hopefully it resets when the car turns back on, because right now by me doing that I'm pushing the clutch in. Having trouble holding it in place so I can get that other bolt in. Hard to do with. I'm gonna change position. How far does it have to go? Wonder if I can shove a block in there to hold it in place. Get the bolt in there. And just go like that. Oh, that might do it. Come on. Get in the... Oh, you turkey. It's not only pulled out, it's... There we go. Get in the hole. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Where's the other one go? Somewhere here. Get started. Right on. Good job. Oh, okay. It's in. I just gotta tighten it up now. Okay, moment of truth. Just gotta reconnect the battery in this thing. Safe mode. Isn't that just a pain in the butt? You gotta punch in a code every time you disconnect the battery to use the radio in it. I guess back then the radios were expensive. I don't know. Oh, was that the shift? Was that the shift actuator resetting? Oh, gotta close the door. I heard the shift actuator reset. I still got an engine light. I gotta figure out what that is. Oh, you figure. Still doesn't want to shift into gear. Friggers. Oh, the actuator reset. Maybe it just needs to be moved in. Okay, try moving it in like that. So the actuator reset. It popped back into place, so I know it's not frozen, it's actually moving, but it might have been adjusted too far out, so Let's see if it'll work this time. Oh! Ha 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 ha! Yes! Yeah, the actuator just had to be adjusted in. Oh, that's good. Have an accomplishment for today. And look at that, the engine light went out. So, that's pretty cool.